There is a moment in life that rarely looks dramatic from the outside, yet internally it feels like a quiet turning point. It happens when you realize you have been living efficiently, but not necessarily intentionally. You know how to meet expectations. You know how to fulfill responsibilities. You know how to appear stable, but when you sit alone without distractions, there is a subtle question that refuses to disappear. Is this truly my life, or just the life I learned how to manage? Most people never slow down enough to face that question. They move from goal to goal, from obligation to obligation, assuming that progress automatically equals fulfillment. They measure success by milestones and productivity, not by internal alignment. And because society rewards visible achievement, they continue building a life that looks impressive while feeling increasingly distant from themselves. Self-discovery begins the moment you stop confusing movement with meaning. Just because you are advancing does not mean you are aligned. Just because you are busy does not mean you are purposeful. The world will applaud your discipline long before it asks whether you are genuinely connected to what you are doing. That responsibility falls on you. This journey is not about abandoning ambition or rejecting structure. It is about questioning the foundation beneath them. Who decided what success looks like for you? Which parts of your personality are authentic, and which were shaped by adaptation? How much of your identity was formed from survival rather than conscious choice? These questions are uncomfortable because they challenge certainty, but certainty built on autopilot is fragile. Real stability comes from clarity, and clarity only appears when you are willing to examine your patterns without defensiveness. In this video, we are not chasing motivation. We are building awareness, because awareness is the beginning of transformation, and transformation rooted in truth lasts. Achievement feels powerful. It provides direction. It offers measurable progress. It creates external validation. From an early age, you were likely rewarded for performance. Good grades, good behavior, good results. Over time, achievement may have become more than something you do. It may have become who you are. When achievement turns into identity, rest becomes threatening. Slowing down feels unproductive. Failure feels personal. You start equating your value with your output. The question shifts from, who am I, to what have I accomplished lately? This mindset is subtle, but it reshapes your inner dialogue. Constant achievement can mask internal misalignment. You may be excelling in areas that do not truly fulfill you. You may be chasing promotions, recognition, or financial milestones without asking whether they reflect your deeper values. Because progress feels good in the short term, you avoid questioning the direction in the long term. The hidden cost appears gradually. Emotional fatigue increases. Satisfaction becomes temporary. Each success requires a new target to maintain momentum. You become addicted to forward motion because stopping forces reflection, and reflection might reveal that some of your goals were inherited rather than chosen. Self-discovery asks you to separate your worth from your performance. It invites you to ask whether your ambition is driven by alignment or by fear of inadequacy. There is nothing wrong with striving, but striving without awareness turns into endless pursuit. When you detach identity from achievement, you regain freedom. Freedom to choose goals that resonate rather than impress. Freedom to rest without guilt. Freedom to redefine success according to your evolving truth. One of the most overlooked aspects of self-discovery is understanding why people repeat what hurts them. The answer is rarely weakness. It is familiarity. The human mind prefers predictable discomfort over uncertain growth. Familiar. Pain feels controllable. You know how it unfolds. You know how to cope with it. Even if it drains you, it does not surprise you. Unfamiliar growth, however, introduces uncertainty. New standards, new boundaries, new expectations. That uncertainty can feel threatening. This is why people stay in environments that limit them. Why they return to relationships that recreate old wounds. Why they sabotage opportunities that demand expansion. The pain is known. The growth is unknown. And the mind chooses safety over possibility. Breaking this pattern requires courage. It requires recognizing that comfort is not always alignment. Sometimes comfort is stagnation, disguised as stability. You must be willing to tolerate temporary discomfort in order to break long-standing cycles. When you choose growth over familiar pain, your identity begins to shift. You stop defining yourself by what you endure and start defining yourself by what you consciously choose. That shift is subtle but powerful, and it leads directly to reclaiming personal responsibility without self-blame. Personal responsibility is often misunderstood. Many people equate it with guilt. If something is not working, they assume they are flawed. But responsibility is not self-attack. It is empowerment. Taking responsibility means acknowledging your patterns without labeling yourself as broken. It means recognizing where your choices were influenced by fear or conditioning. It means admitting that while you did not control your early programming, you now control your awareness. Self-blame keeps you stuck in shame. Responsibility moves you toward change. When you own your reactions, you regain agency. You stop waiting for circumstances to shift before you act differently. You stop seeing yourself as a victim of repetition. This mindset strengthens emotional maturity. You begin asking, "What is this situation teaching me about myself?" instead of, "Why does this keep happening to me?" That small shift changes your posture from passive to proactive. With responsibility comes clarity. You see how your boundaries contributed to certain outcomes, how your silence enabled dynamics, how your fear limited possibilities. And once you see clearly, you can respond consciously instead of unconsciously. Once you identify your script and take responsibility for your patterns, the next step is rewriting your internal narrative. This does not mean positive thinking. It means accurate thinking. If your old narrative said, "I am only valuable when I achieve," the rewrite becomes, "My value is inherent. Achievement is expression." If your narrative said, "I must avoid conflict to be loved," the rewrite becomes, "Healthy connection includes honest disagreement." These shifts are grounded in truth, not fantasy. Rewriting your narrative requires repetition. The old script was reinforced for years. New beliefs require evidence. Each aligned action becomes proof. Each boundary respected becomes reinforcement. Each risk taken becomes validation. Over time, your inner dialogue softens. Fear loses dominance. You begin responding from clarity rather than insecurity. This does not eliminate challenge, but it reduces internal chaos. As your narrative evolves, so does your behavior. You stop chasing validation in the same places. You stop tolerating what contradicts your values. You start building a life that reflects intention rather than unconscious repetition. The final stage of this journey is integration. Living beyond the identity shaped by unconscious scripts. This is where self-discovery becomes embodied. You no longer react automatically to triggers that once controlled you. You pause. You choose. You respond intentionally. The space between stimulus and reaction widens. In that space, freedom exists. Living beyond your old identity does not mean erasing your past. It means understanding it without being confined by it. You carry the lessons without carrying the limitations. You appreciate the resilience you built without clinging to the coping mechanisms. As this integration deepens, life feels lighter. Not because it is easier, but because it is aligned. You are no longer performing survival. You are practicing intention. Your choices reflect awareness. Your boundaries reflect clarity. Your direction reflects truth. And that is the quiet transformation most people seek but rarely articulate. Not a new personality, not a dramatic reinvention, but the freedom to live consciously instead of automatically. The freedom to choose who you are becoming instead of repeating who you were taught to be.